welcome to our second KeeKee Giggle, where we talk about all things neighbors. I am joined this evening with Mr. Chris Rice, who plays Asher, and our amazing director, DeShawn Bowens. Ooh, come on, claps, come on, claps. So we're just gonna get right to it.
Great.
So, Chapter 2, Episode 2.
We got here.
We got here. I'm like, let's just take a sip on
Yeah.
that, okay? Seriously, y'all. This episode was our very first flashback. And there'll be many more flashbacks in the season, right? Many more. And they're lengthy, but I was really adamant about that. I was like, I think that they're important and they are the perfect contrast to the present, because we do get the present too. But I was like, I want to kind of start at a place and then go back and be like, okay, this is how we got here. But I think it works. You would agree, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And just diving into that from the beginning and seeing okay, it wasn't just anybody's fault. This is step one of this journey.
Literally,
right.
yes. And it was so fun as a director to, having done my notes before, and be like, wow, to see when you guys I was able to give you direction and be like, oh, that's just that aha moment from a director's point of view. It's beautiful to watch and be like, wow, the story is bringing a story off the page and to life is just amazing. And
especially about the characters, what were you thinking, Chris, when you first read the show and Asher and got to know him?
Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack with that question, because
please.
I mean, it's written by a person of color who's a very unique and honest viewpoint about a white person who doesn't fully get it, and that's a lot to unpack too. I think Asher lives in a world where we talked about this. He's woke adjacent, or he feels like he's woke. He's proud to be woke, but he's not. Doesn't have it all figured out when he thinks he does. And there's a lot to play with that. And so to play someone who doesn't exactly agree with me on those things, well, he's not overtly, outwardly evil and racist. He definitely just comes from a really specific white background, and he's not as in the know as he thinks he is.
And what a lot of people don't know is that we got a second chance at it.
Yes.
Like you said, the first day.
That earlier.
Right, like you said, the
take over.
first day was ambitious, and we were just going forward, and we kind of jam-packed the schedule, but that's the beauty in this. Everybody kind of walked in knowing we all are new to filming, on camera work, making a TV show, filming it, taking it off the page. And so everyone was just so game, and I'm just so grateful that you were so game, because we literally had to do a full reshoot day. This episode 2, y'all, was literal bookends, where the first day we shot episode 2 and the last day we reshot episode 2. But it was so worth it, because the things that we were finding along this journey, it was you had left for a bit, not left, but you weren't, your character's a little bit separated from the rest.
Sure.
So when you came back, I'm sure you were what has been going on? Because it was just a different energy.
For sure. No, it was exciting to come back though, because we chatted shortly after we shot the first day. Maybe it was a few days into shooting, and you were like, I glanced at some footage, and I'm not sure if we told the story the best way we could have. I mean, we didn't change any writing. There was nothing major that shifted, except for we just came back with a new energy and a little more focus and a little more freedom, honestly, for us to play.
Yes.
As well as our amazing team behind the scenes. You guys were all working together and finding your groove, and you were like, we're gonna light it this way, we're gonna film it this way. The ideas kind of were forming as you guys moved on to other sections of different episodes, and you guys came back let's reshoot. And I'm glad I was in town. I'm glad it worked out for you to be back.
Yes. So what were you thinking when I asked you?
it was interesting, because I was like, how do I go about doing this, and how can we accurately tell this story?
Right.
And so I was like, I really want to focus on relationships, because when I watch anything, or just anything I'm doing, I'm like, conflict and relationships. That is the basis of anything in general. So I was like, if I can figure out how to make this relationship work, or maybe not work, maybe I will have some place to start from. So I was like, where's the conflict? Where's the relationship? How do I know these two people? How can we get the good to be good, and how can we get the bad to be bad, and how can we get the audience to see both of you guys' perspective? And that was the one thing I wanted to focus on. After watching this episode, I'm like, oh, can I be on Asher's side, or can I be on Sharrod's side? Who's wrong? Who's right?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to focus on. And not necessarily that there's an answer to that, but that's what I wanted, someone to watch and be like, well, huh? That's,
For a long time, seriously, in my 20s, I was obsessed with that. All my friends were like, what's wrong with you, bitch? I'm like, I just think I'd be cute with a white guy. I just want to date a white guy. And they're like, but why? And and then like I started to get seriously, like I feel like you're one of those people, DeShawn, that was like, what is wrong with you? Because like we've been friends for a minute, but seriously, it's just, and then I'm finding my lane with writing the story. At the time I was like starting to write it, it just felt so right to show like, even in this scenario, how like he really is posting on Instagram and like BLM, Black Lives Matter, like he is that guy. He understands it, but from an outward standpoint. Thank you guys so much for coming and for being here and chatting. Oh my gosh, thank you guys for watching. That is the KeeKee Giggle for episode 2, and we'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Let's do it.